Welcome back to Opinion Journal Live. I'm Jason Riley, and joining me next is editorial board member Matt Kaminski to talk about, the sentence of one of the worst living human beings that I can think of. I don't know about you, Matt, but welcome to the show.
Good to be here, Jason.
So today, Charles Taylor, the former president of Liberia, was sentenced by The Hague to 50 years in prison. I thought it was a little light, Matt. How about you?
Well, I think they just wanted a number big enough to ensure that he would stay there for the rest of his life.
Well, they don't do death penalties and they don't do life sentences. So I was told they had to put a specific number in there.
Exactly. This is probably the best you can go for. The defense is going to appeal this, and the prosecution, I think, wanted about 70 years. But 50 years is a reasonable round number, and it caps a pretty remarkable case. It's the first time you've had a head of state who's been convicted by a international court since the Nuremberg trials, and it does help close a chapter in a very bloody history in West Africa.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that, Matt. The court found him guilty of, quote, planning some of the most heinous and brutal crimes recorded in human history. Tell us about what he did and why so many of the people directly involved in this case are missing limbs, Matt.
Well, he did a lot of terrible things when in Liberia itself, in coming to power and in ruling Liberia. But the crimes he was convicted of were committed next door in Sierra Leone. He was essentially helping to arm and fund a very nasty guerrilla war where it was largely in large parts fought by child soldiers who were drugged up. And one of the great sort of fun things they like to do was to go into villages, essentially sort of cut the limbs off, arms and legs, mostly arms off children, women. I mean, there was sort of mass rapes that took place. So he was convicted of this. It's worth noting that the only reason why he was even put on trial was that Britain invaded Sierra Leone about 10 years ago to stop that civil war, and he was pushed out of power, and the U.S. very pushed for him to be arrested in Nigeria. So those things had to happen before he could have been brought to justice.